People's Temple. The People's Temple, founded in Indianapolis, combined elements of communism, racial equality, and Christianity. Although its leader, Jim Jones, often criticized the Bible and traditional Christianity. This approach initially attracted a large following, but over time, the group became increasingly hostile toward defectors and the media investigating its practices. To escape scrutiny, the People's Temple relocated to Guyana, establishing a settlement called Jonestown, which grew to about 900 residents. In 1978, U.S. Representative Leo Ryan visited Jonestown to investigate allegations of abuse. During his visit, some members expressed a desire to leave with him. On November 18, as Ryan and a group of defectors prepared to depart from a nearby airstrip, Temple guards opened fire, killing Ryan, 3 journalists, and 1 defector, and injuring several others. That evening, Jim Jones ordered his followers to drink a cyanide-laced grape-flavored beverage. In the end, 918 people died, including 276 children. Some who resisted were forcibly injected with cyanide, and Jones himself likely died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God was founded by Credonia Marinda and Joseph Kibwetere in southwestern Uganda, with both claiming to have seen the Virgin Mary. This cult placed an extreme focus on the 10 Commandments, even discouraging speech to avoid breaking the 9th commandment. Members were also required to fast and abstain from sexual relationships. The leaders predicted that the apocalypse would occur on December 31st, 1999. When this prophecy failed, the movement began to collapse, with many members reportedly demanding refunds. The leaders then announced a new date for the apocalypse, March 17, 2000. On that day, the movement hosted a large gathering at Kanungu. During the event, the building's doors and windows were sealed, and an explosion caused a fire that killed all 530 people inside. Just days earlier, movement leader Dominic Katarababo was seen purchasing 50 liters of sulfuric acid, which may have been used to start the fire. Additionally, many members had been poisoned. In total, the death toll reached 924. The 5 main leaders of the cult disappeared and are presumed to have escaped. And now I have something that only 5% of viewers will be able to do. Only the fastest people can manage to like this video and subscribe to my channel before the timer runs out. Comment done if you did it in time. Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate was an American religious movement, often referred to as a cult, founded in 1974 by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. They believed they were the 2 witnesses from the Book of Revelation and taught that followers could transform into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, ascending to the next level, or heaven. After Nettles' death in 1985, the group shifted its belief, viewing the body as a temporary vehicle for the soul. In 1997, coinciding with the Hale-Bopp comet's closest approach, 39 members, including Applewhite, committed ritual suicide in Rancho Santa Fe, California, believing their souls would ascend to a UFO trailing the comet. Their website called this event their graduation to the next level. Manson's family. Infamous criminal Charles Manson led a group that lived an unconventional lifestyle, frequently using psychoactive drugs such as LSD. At its peak, the group had around 100 members, most of whom were young women from middle-class backgrounds drawn to the hippie movement and Manson's charisma. According to member Susan Atkins, the group believed Manson was a manifestation of Jesus Christ and trusted his prophecies about an impending apocalyptic race war, which he called Helter Skelter. In August 1969, Manson directed his followers to commit a series of brutal murders over 2 nights, killing 7 people, including actress Sharon Tate. These killings were meant to provoke the racial war Manson had foretold. Manson was sentenced to life in prison, where he remained until his death in 2017. Aum Shinrikyo. This group was founded by Shoko Asahara, a Japanese man who claimed to be Christ and declared that his mission was to take on the sins of the world. Asahara stated that he could transfer spiritual power to his followers and free them from their sins and misdeeds. He also predicted a nuclear apocalypse, supposedly triggered by the United States, in which only his followers would survive. Asahara interpreted the Tibetan Buddhist concept of Phowa, claiming that killing people who opposed the group's goals prevented them from accumulating bad karma, thereby saving them. This belief led his followers to see murder as a form of salvation. In 1995, the group carried out a sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway, killing 13 people and injuring over 1,000. They had previously conducted other bioterrorism attacks, but this particular act was orchestrated after Asahara learned about a planned police raid on March 22nd. The attack was intended to disrupt investigations into the group and potentially ignite the prophesied apocalypse. 13 senior members, including Asahara, were sentenced to death and executed in 2018, while many others received long prison sentences, including life imprisonment. Ant Hill Kids. The Ant Hill Kids was a Canadian cult founded by Roche Thériault, who convinced followers to abandon their jobs and families to join his religious commune. Promising unity, equality, and salvation from sin, members instead endured severe abuse. Thériault isolated the group from their families and claimed the world would end in February 1979. To prepare, he moved the commune to a mountain he named Eternal Mountain, where he made followers build a settlement while he rested, likening them to ants and naming the group after an ant hill. When the apocalypse didn't happen, he blamed a misalignment between God's time and Earth's time. Thériault married and fathered children with several women in the group, performed crude surgeries on members, and caused the death of at least one woman. In 1989, after a member escaped and alerted authorities, Thériault was arrested. He spent the rest of his life in prison, where he was killed by a cellmate at age 63. Penza Recluses, also known as the Heavenly Jerusalem Cult, it was founded by Pyotr Kuznetsov, who convinced his followers that the end of the world was near and they were the chosen ones. The group rejected modern society, avoiding barcodes, social security numbers, and passports, believing they contained satanic symbols like the Eye of Providence and the number of the beast. In November 2007, 29 to 35 members barricaded themselves in a cave, threatening to explode if anyone interfered. Kuznetsov told them to hide and pray, awaiting the world's end in May 2008. He wasn't there himself and was later arrested. From March 28 to 31st, 21 members came out due to health issues and a cave collapse. In April, Kuznetsov was hospitalized and may have attempted suicide after his prophecy failed. On May 16th, the last 9 members left the cave, driven out by toxic fumes from the bodies of 2 dead cultists. Church of the Lamb of God. The Church of the Lamb of God was founded by Ervil LeBaron, notorious for his violent and authoritarian leadership. He promoted the doctrine of blood atonement, which claimed that sins could only be forgiven through the shedding of blood. This belief led to numerous murders, including that of his brother Joel, leader of a rival polygamous group. While briefly imprisoned, Ervil declared himself God's chosen representative with the right to decide who deserved death. After Joel's death, Ervil targeted his other brother Verlan, who went into hiding. In 1974, Ervil's wife and her brothers attacked Los Molinos, killing 2 and injuring 13, to flush Verlan out. Ervil was arrested but later released due to insufficient evidence. Many who opposed Ervil were murdered, including his pregnant daughter Rebecca. He also planned to assassinate rival leader Rulon Allred and then Verlan at Allred's funeral, but police thwarted the attempt. Ervil was eventually arrested and died in prison in 1981. After his death, the cult splintered into factions led by his sons, who fought violently for control. NXIVM, founded by Keith Raniere in New York, began as a self-improvement organization, but eventually turned into a cult. Within it was a secret society called DOS, where numerous cases of abuse occurred. Raniere convinced members that he had supernatural abilities to heal women. To reduce their own suffering, members were coerced into recruiting more women, creating what resembled a pyramid scheme. To ensure secrecy, new recruits were required to provide compromising materials such as nude photographs and false confessions for blackmail. Members were also branded with the initials of Raniere and actress Allison Mack, who were leaders of the group. In 2019, Raniere was convicted of multiple crimes and sentenced to 120 years in prison. Order of the Solar Temple. The Solar Temple, inspired by the Knights Templar, was led by Joseph Di Mambro and Luc Jouret. Founded in Switzerland as an esoteric group, its teachings were reserved for advanced members, making it difficult for scholars to fully uncover their beliefs. They revered the star Sirius as the home of ascended masters, spiritual beings who inhabited Agartha, a mythical underground realm. The group saw human bodies as temporary vessels for souls and believed advanced members could leave their bodies at will. Rituals often included manifestations of the masters, created using holographic projections. As investigations mounted and internal deceptions were exposed, many left the group. The remaining members followed the leader's orders to transition to Sirius, which involved mass ritual deaths. These events resulted in the deaths of approximately 74 people.